middle school program as it apparently seems to be in our district. And if my numbers are correct, we still have 78,946 in savings.
That I'd have to confirm.
Well, I just did, I kind of been tracking it as we've been talking about. That doesn't include the contingency fund money, which is also
Also,
significant in another line. So
What is the number you said, just so I can-
78,946.40. I can tell you how I came up with that.
78,946.40?
Yeah.
That's for
I
next
took the
year.
remaining savings that we all talked about that's in the minutes of 57,677.44 from last meeting. That was from regular ed
Say that
equipment
again,
and website.
56,
677.44.
677.54?
44. 57,677.44.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, and then I added the PE teacher salary decrease because of the
And what
new
number
teacher.
did you use for that?
19, the one that you gave us, 19087.44. That's just for the salary, that's not the benefits or anything that might be
No, that
affected.
is the two thing, I gave you a sheet. Yeah, well, I actually just did one tonight because I wasn't sure what health choice she was gonna take.
Right.
And what I came up for a savings was 17,952.58.
Oh, okay. So I'm off by a little.
No, it's
17.
what I gave you last time though.
Okay. And then I had 2181.52 for the para savings after she's certified. I didn't even include the lower number for the first part, because she's not getting paid until
I understand.
as much. So I took the higher that she's gonna get paid from the difference of the person she replaced.
Okay.
And that was 2181.52, 2,181.52. And that's how I come up with the 78,946.40. So
All right,
anyway, my
well,
point
I-
is this, with the savings we have just in those things, not including the GMRs that we're saving, we could pay for the whole program, although I really don't support some parts of the
Oh, we don't
program
have to buy the
forward.
iPads. You know,
Huh?
that would be.
The iPads are like I know they're nice and stuff, but really, come on, I mean, we're trying to start a program.
That was in there as a full-blown program,
Yep,
Right.
you know.
yep.
You fund what you want to fund.
And does that take into account your savings if we have to bring someone back?
No,
For
Okay.
kindergarten, right?
no, that's what we have for savings right now,
Okay.
if we don't have to bring a kindergarten
So
first grade.
the way I look at bringing someone back is, the budget can cut one teacher, we took that teacher out, the kindergarten teacher or whatever one.
Well, there was no money in the budget for
Well,
that.
there's no,
Right.
that's right, they took it out.
Mhm.
So, but there's one teacher we're looking at now is, one that we opted to take out, we put back in, it could be Spanish. I personally have no problem going back to budget committee and say, look, you got this teacher, the kindergarten based off numbers, we need it now. If we're
Mhm.
talking about having to save the money in the budget,
Yeah,
because they cut it
I,
with the number, thinking the numbers were small.
because they were.
Okay, but if they go back up to where they're not small,
And you have to hire somebody.
we have to hire someone, then we either spend from the GMR, the savings there, or we go to the budget and say, well,
Anyway, my point was that it looks like we have enough here. If we wanted to do it, we
Yeah.
could.
And I would
And,
do that.
and I know change is hard for people. But it's a consideration, I really think it's a
Can we
consideration,
get-
and if this schedule is very, very basic right now, and it hasn't been brought up to the staff, I don't know what the normal course of, how you do that is, like, I don't know if you all sit down in the staff meeting and say, what do you think, can you do it, is it possible? It looks like we're doing 1-hour classes,
Mhm.
and, is 1 hour a good time for kids to
It's
sit in
okay,
class?
it's fine.
And there's no travel time.
That includes-
The travel time just comes,
It's built in?
a few minutes in there,
Okay,
to
okay.
get from one to the other. So it's a
Okay.
little less than an hour.
So if
And
I
there's
can-
no recess.
7th and 8th graders generally don't get recess.
Okay, right now they have 2.
Well, they have a half-hour
Well, they-
lunch, so
yeah,
15
they go
minutes of
up.
the lunch is recess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So my question is this, is it too late to hire a foreign language teacher are we cutting it too close to hire someone for that?
It's late. It is late. Is it too late? That's a crystal ball question,
Right,
and could we find anybody
right,
is also another question. I don't even know if we can find someone,
right.
so,
And
I know,
don't
is
mean-
it a critical shortage area?
No,
Foreign language is a shortage area.
I know
It
last
is.
year, we advertised, it was a French teacher though, and we,
French is a little tough.
I know, but we couldn't fill the position.
and I wouldn't want, I'd say, my thing is, if we hire someone who's good. I don't wanna have to hire someone because we had 5 applicants and we have to pick somebody.
Oh, you had two.
Or 2, and neither of them are someone we like, we have to pick someone. I mean, I would much rather, my thinking is, because it is such a late date, I would much rather go with the club, but plan, because we have the savings.
Right.
This year, we can build it in next year's budget
That's true.
to hire the foreign language teacher. And that way, we can start looking in December.
Yep.
Because we know we're gonna have the money the following year, and we can hire the people we want.
Well, by then you'll know whether you had to rehire a kindergarten teacher.
Right, then we'll know that, and we'll be a lot better situation, and that way we can be ready, that way we can
I
be
was
ready.
thinking,
That way we can be ready to go. And,
Or
what?
they do that at How I Met Your Mother. Did you ever see that?
No.
Anyway, or you could try to get it done, and if you couldn't find anybody, go with the club. If you couldn't find a good Spanish teacher. But, you know, there are a lot of teachers out there right now looking for work. I don't know if there's any Spanish teachers, if
we
there's
have
a
to get a
critical
certified,
shortage,
we have to
then.
get a certified
Certified,
Spanish.
yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just a possibility, but my biggest concern is John comfortable with the schedule? Is he recommending this for us?
I can do schedules, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
have to sit down with them and do it. And the thing is that people are just gonna have to be told that this is what they're going to do. And they're
Right.
going to have to adjust to it.
I don't
If
have-
that's, you
I don't
know, it
have a
isn't going to
problem
be
with
a
that.
soft transition, it's going to be, okay, here's the schedule, deal with it.
There are employees, I
Yeah.
mean.
Which means that
Well, I
staff
mean, we're not
members.
asking to do anything that they don't already do, right?
Well, you're changing the times of the period, so they're accustomed to teaching for a certain period of time, their lessons are all set up
What are the
for
times
an
today?
hour and 15
Oh,
minutes.
okay.
They now have to adjust all their lessons and move everything around. So it does require them to rethink and rework their curriculum,
Okay.
so that they can match the time of the period that they have.
Right.
And that's why transition is a nice thing to have when you have the
Right.
thing to do. So,
But I really, once again, I think we're better off, we can build this money in the budget next year, it gives us a chance to figure out whether to hire a kindergarten teacher, we need to hire a kindergarten teacher. If we don't, we know we have the money next year, we can start planning in December, and, you know, and you can continue to work on the schedule, who knows, maybe we'll have another 10 students next year. You know, we got more to work with. But, I mean, I would rather do it that way and do it right, instead of trying to rush into it, because you rush into it, there's always gonna be a lag time, there's gonna be confusion, there's gonna be this, and there's gonna be that, as people make adjustments.
Yeah, I'm just disappointed because we've talked about this for a long time, so it's not a surprise, Andy, that we
Sure.
didn't want this schedule done, you know, I mean.
No,
and-
but if it was done in December, that'd been one thing.
Yeah.
And if we knew we had the money, that'd be fine, but it's at a late date, you know, I think we're better off to go with the club, but with the idea that next year, because we build the money into the budget, next year we will have the money, so next year we can tell people we are gonna have the Spanish program next
And with the
year.
club, what would the club be again? I mean,
I've talked to
Yeah.
Irma about it, and she's very interested. It would run, you know, like
Yeah.
2 college semesters, 14 weeks, 2 times a week for an hour after school, 7th and 8th grade.
sorry, say that one more
Two sections,
time. Okay.
14 weeks thereabouts, 2 days a week after school for an hour.
Right.
And that's kind of what we had talked about, $1,500 for stipend for each course,
Right.
like a typical adjunct. The other thing is though, that first of all, we have to find out who's interested, how many kids are interested, and, you know, when it works for them. So that would be part of what she would be doing, is to make that work. And you're looking at building, you know, so you're looking at getting people interested and start, this would be the beginning process of looking at the interest.
I guess she could start asking 7th graders now, and 6th graders now, who's interested in Spanish next year?
Yeah, and we could, you know, start up, you know, looking at,
All right,
testing out the books and talking to Sanborn.
all right.
I have
Yeah, I was gonna ask if
concerns,
anybody has.
I have
any-
concerns with this because this has been talked about for quite a
All
while.
right.
And the public, everyone, you know, pretty much in agreement feels that this is definitely a benefit to our students, especially going into Sanborn. And I have concerns that the proposal we got the last time from John, you know, just wasn't appropriate for what we were looking for. And it's been discussed on what we're looking for. It's not like it was any secret of, you know, kind of how we wanted the program to be. And then to know that what was given to you the last time and this was given within an hour, I would think that if the principal has been aware, why hasn't there been more effort at getting more proposals, reaching out to other schools? Because that was a discussion, I think, from the public and from us, that it's done in other schools, there's a schedule. I'm just kind of concerned that this is not really well thought out for our school, that it was kind of thrown together, so it's not realistic at how it would work. I just feel like there's not a lot of effort being put into this from.
You have to remember, it wasn't budgeted, it wasn't a discussion until a month ago.
Right.
And then suddenly, something we hadn't planned on all year, we hadn't talked about, we hadn't brought to the staff, we hadn't it wasn't gonna happen, is suddenly, we're being asked that it's gonna happen.
That's true.
People have busy schedules, right now it's an extremely busy time of year, people at 7th and 8th grade are gearing up for Washington, they're leaving. So it isn't, you know, it's not that people don't want to do it, it's just that this is not the best time of year to try to plan something like this.
And you know, we can want it perfect, but we don't know what the school should do. We're relying on, we have to rely on the administrators to bring us something that's doable. It has to come from the educators, we don't know. I
Right.
mean, we can say yes to the money if the program looks good, but we really have to rely on the people. And if they don't have time to do it, then we need to take that into consideration and make sure that we're not just throwing something at them that's gonna.
Yeah, they
go in
have to be
there.
I don't know if
comfortable
something like that.
with proposing.
Well,
They
the other
want
problem,
them to feel like they have enough
We're
time.
gonna do one more
or-
public input after, I know we didn't have it in the budget, but. I mean,
the other
agenda, but-
problem we got, one thing, we gotta think about the students. And if we don't have this program that's ready to go from day one, and there's confusion and a little frustration, everything else on the part of everybody, how's that gonna impact the students? Are they gonna get the education that they need
Yeah.
at the start of the program? And you don't want, especially with something like Spanish or foreign language, you don't want kids to be turned off to it.
Right.
Because the first impressions are important. If the first or second class are bad, we may not get them back. So,
There's a lot to look at.
yeah, so I think it's really important, you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right, it's gotta be done right from the very beginning. We have to start off day one prepared and with a quality program we can offer people. 'Cause
That-
we wanna get
That
kids.
emulates Sanborn's program.
Yeah, we wanna engage the kids, we wanna get them excited about the program, and,
We
you know.
want a foreign language teacher who can go visit and talk to Sanborn, see the
Correct.
classroom, see
Right.
the textbooks, see
Right.
how they work their lessons.
Right,
You know, and
Right.
none of that will happen. And as John said to me,
Right.
he said, we were gonna have next year.
Mhm.
You know, our idea was we would put it in the budget come fall for the following year. We'd have a year to plan it, a year to make it work, a year to transition, hire a teacher, plan the curriculum, get everybody ready. And now we've got a month. And
Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think we should go with the club to get the idea of language introduced into the school.
With the full intention, though, if we do that, to make sure that now's the time we start planning the
I-
work.
The next
a
year's
full
budget,
month.
we will put a,
My-
I was gonna say,
we
yeah.
will put a foreign language teacher in next year's
That's
budget. We
the
haven't
plan.
said $8,000, it's just a matter of carrying it over next
On the
year's budget.
agenda,
We have one.
monthly thing on the agenda, where will the planning be? Maybe nothing the first couple of months, but I don't wanna lose the momentum.
it will be in the budget and the planning will be happening. And that was the original plan.
I know,
was that-
so where I'm looking at now is,
Yeah.
the last, so this is my third year, the last 2 years I've been here, it's always been, it's too late, it's next year, I just wanna make sure it happens. That's-
We
and I
actually
know you
weren't
will.
trying to come without a plan that one year.
Yeah, no.
That didn't go.
And that's, I know you will, it's not,
We did
I
not
don't
mean
even
to
sure,
do
just-
what we were doing.
very disappointed that we're gonna get this year, but I hear all the concerns, and I don't wanna say, yes, do something that is gonna fail or cause hardship or everywhere else. Very disappointed, but I think,
I think, that- and like I said, when we talked about this in the budget process, the board needs to commit to this. You're going
Well-
to have foreign language, it's going to be a part of the curriculum, it's not gonna be the first thing that gets cut, other
No.
things will go.
Right,
This is what you want, and it's going to be a part of Fremont's
Right.
school from now until eternity,
right,
until we have no kids left.
And Greg, don't forget next year too, there's no bond payment.
you know.
Right, so
Yeah,
got
we have
that
an extra
line.
300,000. It's gonna make things
I mean,
different.
things could be more palatable, I guess is all I'm saying.
Right.
Unless
Public,
Sam comes back with a 25% GMR.
Working on that.
We're working on
And
that.
my own personal preference,
Iron Squad.
I mean, what I would like, I mean, my first preference is start Latin in the third grade, teach kids Latin, third through seventh, and they can learn any Western language, anything. They could go to French, they could go to
Okay.
Italian, they can go to,
I'm gonna take you on. I want computer language programming in first grade.
there
There
we
you
go.
go, now that's.
So there we go. Well, I said
That
my
should be
piece.
part of it.
Strategic plan.
I don't want,
That's my
I
priority.
don't
We're all
want
going to China to
I
learn.
like it.
to really end the conversation.
Okay, I want to give you guys each a chance to just say quickly
Yeah,
what you
yeah,
think.
there's this class or group in Newmarket that goes around to schools. Did the board look at that? They come into different schools and they're all set up to like teach foreign language.
Oh.
And I had forwarded that to Michelle last year.
Oh, you did?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
I'm pretty friendly with the business administrator in Newmarket, I can
Yeah.
ask her.
They go around, I get emails from them all the time. And so I don't know if that's an option.
Is
If
it
you have
high
any
school level or
contact
middle school
information, send
level?
it to us.
I'll send it to you.
Is
yeah.
it high school level or middle school level? Do you know?
All levels,
Oh,
all
okay.
levels.
Is it like a traveling kind of?
Yeah, yeah.
Foreign language?
It's like the dental truck, except it's
It's like,
A truck, yeah. okay.
Traveling language?
No, but I sent it to Michelle last year, and I just kind of threw it out there and said, I know the district is looking at foreign
Right.
language. And
no, we never saw
a
it.
lot of schools,
And do they come in for a couple of
I
weeks?
think they're pretty flexible too, and when they do it, so it's something to look at least.
Yeah, I mean, this
maybe.
could be the alternative to having a
Yeah.
school class per se, but having this program.
Yeah, it might be a bridge thing
Yeah.
that you can use or
Okay.
something like that.
I'll take a
Or
look.
be resources.
I can talk to him.
Yeah, are you familiar with it?
No.
I know the superintendent, so.
Yeah.
Please leave it. Jim.
So I'll send that,
No,
I'll send that to,
no.
Thank you.
yeah, the superintendent.
Yeah, I'll superintendent.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it sounds like from a planning perspective that more time is needed. I guess my concern is just that this year we had it proposed as part of the budget, and then because the budget was so high, and we don't know, like, who knows what new state mandated thing is gonna come down the pike, and I know we got a bond, like, we get 300,000 from the bond, and hopefully things will work out with Sanborn, but I just fear that if we don't just get it in the budget and start a run rate, that then we can build upon that next year it's gonna be like, well, you know, we don't wanna put it in because we're gonna further inflate the budget and we're gonna limit the ability of passing the
Sue, but the
CDA.
one thing is that that teacher that the kindergarten teacher, if that position stays vacant, the money will be in the budget.
It's already
The
there.
teacher line won't change.
Right, it doesn't increase the budget.
It won't increase it at all.
That's the advantage of it.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
But you're saying if we needed that teacher,
Right, if we
Then
get
it
that
will.
teacher, and then we're adding, and we've got, I just worry that if we don't establish a run rate for it, but I mean, I definitely don't, I understand not wanting to rush something and do it once, do it right. I totally agree with that, I just feel like with the way the budget works in this town, that if you don't get something in, it can be really hard, and we don't know what's gonna be happening in the fall. And, you know, my kids are in third grade, so, third grade and first grade, but I know that there's students out there that are going into seventh and eighth grade that could benefit from this next year, and, you know, I'd love to see it, I mean, at least if, you know, if it's a bridge, and we do it, I just would hate to be back here, you know, because I know the reason it got tabled was because, and no one was doing this work all year because it wasn't in the budget, so, and it's hard to predict, so anyway, I'll stop.
Two things I had was, looking at this year, because I had got a copy of the 7th and 8th schedules and the 5th and 6th grade schedules, and it looks like each of the blocks are an hour for teaching, so they're not,
Now?
they're not an hour and
They
15
Can I have a
minutes
copy
like
of
they are, yeah.
I love a copy of that. But anyway.
I have one somewhere.
Yeah, and I wish they
I'll
included
do
the
it.
current
Yeah,
schedule.
I have some
We have
notes.
it, we have it.
Like down here, some ideas and everything, yeah.
But even so.
Go ahead, David. Okay. But then the other thing was that, very similar to budget concerns, that if we don't take it, use this opportunity at this point. So the budget committee told us go down by one teacher. We're actually going back down by two right now if the kindergarten stays the way it is. So then we could kind of flow that, you know, those funds and everything into this program. If we don't take the opportunity to leverage that now, next year, there is an opportunity, if we're going to show them that we're down two this year, why would they say next year, well, you did it with two less this year, so next year we want you to still do it with the same head count and actually go that way? That's my concern.
If we don't add a teacher, we will lose a teacher next year, because a two-class grade 1 will move to a two-class grade 2.
Okay.
And we will have that position. That's one of the things that I was thinking about.
So
this.
can we explain that?
What? You have, if we don't get any more students, and kindergarten stays as two classes, and grade 1 stays as two classes, presently we have 3 second
So you're
grades.
saying second
Right.
grade, we're gonna,
We have another teacher. Bingo, we have language. So it's.
So there is a contingency.
There is,
involved.
that was one of the things that I was looking at, is, you know, that saves the day. And that would follow all the way up, it keeps language for the next 7 years. So,
But hopefully our town will continue to grow and all those big houses will be filled.
as long as they bring some business in to pay the taxes, I mean, that's, you know, we gotta do that.
One last question. Is there curriculum development money budgeted for next year?
We have the grants.
Okay. Is that what the plan is?
Yeah. We also, and I haven't really talked to the board,
Thank you,
that's why I shouldn't talk to you.
No problem.
Yeah. There's more to come on
There's more to
that.
come on that. I've got some good ideas on that, thank you.
Right.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Next meeting.
Was there a reason you asked that though, Jeff? Like, is there a concern?
Yeah, long term.
He's got some good points and some
Okay.
ideas, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right. So, where are we here?
Do we need to make, well, do we need to make a decision tonight? I mean, I would like to make a decision tonight to go with, the language development tonight. And if this new marker people can do that rather than McEachin, if that's better trade, but I think we should we need to decide right
We'll
now.
figure that out. I mean, I think what needs to
I think we
happen
need
is
a
that
language
which of the 3 choices do you want to make? We'll come back with the details.
Good, that's what I was just gonna say. I would like to see what the after-school club looks like, what the books are that we're gonna use for it. And how, I guess, is it gonna be only 7th and 8th grade, or what is it
I
gonna
think
be?
it depends on the enrollment.
Mhm.
When Irma and I talked about it, you know, we talked about 5 through 8, depending upon enrollment, because they're all starting. They're all beginners. So it's not like you're gonna have different levels of language.
That's true.
So it would just depend upon how many kids you got.
Yeah.
And then, definitely, like what Greg said, keeping an eye on getting a really good program into our schedule
Right.
with the teachers we have and the time that we have to do it.
Right.
Without having science and social studies cut down to every other day.
So-
Because we can't do that
No,
either.
we can't do that.
We can make that
so
work.
assuming we know that, which we assume we're gonna, at what point should we really start thinking about, because I'm gonna mark my calendar, to make sure I am.
During the budget?
It's the budget process.
I-
September, I will be putting it, I had planned to put that position in the budget to bring to the board in the fall.
Right.
And at that time, if the board is endorsing it, we should have all of those things as a part of it. The schedule, the books, and how it's gonna look, everything as a part of a package deal for the board to consider. And it'll go to the budcom as a package deal. This is how it's gonna work.
So I get the sense unofficially we're all okay with endorsing it next year, and you want to know what we know today?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have it start in the fall, but I just think it's gonna wreak havoc with the staff
Unfortunately, I think
and
it's done.
with John's
I think-
trying to get the schedule, and
Yeah.
I think he's gonna feel like he's being put under the gun to do
Yeah, they
it.
haven't
I
had
think-
enough time,
I
that's what I
think-
And I
understand.
don't want kids
Yeah.
going home
Just
complaining to
introduce
the parents about the language class, it's not organized.
I wanna get
because-
on
Right.
board.
Because that will just kill it.
Yeah,
And I don't want that.
And I'd like a backup for like the special ed students or the students who aren't gonna be taking it or opting out or whatever.
Yeah.
Make sure
Yeah,
they have
that's something I
something
never thought of, but
productive
you're
to
right.
do with that time, if
Right.
they can work it out. I mean, it's,
We'll
I'm
be
sure
very-
it's logistics are
Yep.
not fun to have to deal with.
No, no, no.
And, we would have to put it out to the, let parents know why we made the decision we made. Okay, well, do we wanna make the,
I'll make a motion to move forward with a foreign language club starting next year, designed by the school administration.
Can we add on with the intent to have foreign language in the budget next year?
yes,
Sure. I'll let that in, yeah.
So moved.
he
I
moved it.
I moved it.
Second?
Second, oh, yeah.
Have we beat this one to death, or do we need to talk about it some more?
We
No.
could always beat it some more.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
There you go.
okay. Fiscal year 13 audit report, which is in the packet,
Right.
which is what she went over with us, correct?
That's correct.
And we owe them a letter, don't we?
The MDNA, you mean?
They told us we had to write a letter, the school board had to write a letter.
I think there's some confusion with that.
Oh.
It's what's called a management discussion
Oh, right.
and analysis, that's correct.
Okay.
It says it right there.
Oh, does it? And we looked, and last year it wasn't included in the audit.
Right.
It's not required.
Yeah.
Oh, and Cheryl said it was.
It's
Didn't
not.
she?
Well, didn't she say she was gonna send us a template?
I have the
Yeah.
template,
She's
and it's
gonna
about
send
16
It-
pages.
It's advised, it is the management's response
This
to
is
the
it.
audit. It's 13 pages long. You don't,
12.
they will
Exactly.
release the audit without it, they don't
Oh,
like to do
yeah.
it without it, but we're gonna have to rent Sue a month extra of work to give her time to put this together.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
just.
and it's numbers I'm really not familiar with. It's
'Cause it's last year's money.
last year's money.
I thought we were, I thought
No,
the board
it's
was
not.
supposed to.
No, it's
So-
the
I don't
business
think
administrator.
anyway.
Well, she
It
said
looks,
something-
It was done by Bonnie.
it looks like Bonnie had done it.
She
but
said something
this-
about school board input and everything else like that.
Is
Maybe
that the
it's a-
example?
I got the sense that the SAU staff made it, and we just kind of.
Exactly.
You would approve it.
Exactly.
You know, you would look at it.
Do you
and
remember
say,
doing it with Bonnie?
No.
No, we didn't do that.
She said it was a letter, you guys, that just said.
This is what she told me.
We read the audit.
This is what they sent me.
Who sent that to you?
The auditors.
Yep.
It's
Right.
Jeffrey Ringe.
And we looked at last year's. We
Right.
looked at last year's audit, it wasn't there. We looked at the audit before then, it was there.
Yeah.
And Bonnie had done it, and it was 13 pages long.
So let's just do it next year. It's good.
That's kind of my thought. The problem is, the amount of research that Sue would have to go through to understand the prior year's budget that she didn't manage.
Right.
Plus,
So
to even put my head around
The
how
days are getting
formatted
longer,
they
so
were.
you know that.
There
Because I
already
work like-
midnight.
I got her email last night.
I would say, yeah, let's just put it off.
Yeah.
Well, because here's my thought on it also. Even if I did do it, it will take me a few weeks to do, and we're already holding it up, and we keep getting complaints about that. If you vote on it tonight, they'll have it to us
And
in
they're
10 days.
All right,
We're done with
why
it.
don't we do that?
And then, because then we've got to get ready for the big audit this summer.
That's correct, so it's
Right.
early fall.
And get it finally be caught up.
Right. All right.
So what kind of motion do you?
If no one has,
That's the example they sent me.
if no one has a problem with the current audit, I mean, I would make a motion to accept.
That's
Oh,
the
this
template.
isn't
she
the one
sent us.
Bonnie did.
No, 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 no.
Oh, I was gonna
No,
say.
no.
That's the template that
They said.
Kelsey sent me.
The auditor sent
We
it.
just
This
need to
is
accept
like
the
the
audit.
auditor's report all over
Exactly.
again.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I'll second.
I
your
know,
motion.
I'm,
Okay,
What
motion's
do we-
on the table to accept the auditor's report.
As
Moved and
is.
seconded, as is.
and
Second.
while we're on the auditor's topic though, another thing we have to address is the, post-employment
Yes,
benefits.
Right.
That's not in this audit,
Yeah.
but we're skating on thin ice in terms
So
of,
this isn't the reconciliation of the retirement account that you were talking
No.
about earlier? Oh, okay.
this is something that's
Completely different.
done usually by an actuarial company. They analyze your post-employment benefits, they do up a balance sheet, asset-looking thing, and then that gets included in your audit. It's GASB 45, I think,
But we'll be
or
doing that with this
54.
year's audit.
Well, but we need
Yeah.
their permission to
Yeah.
pursue that, if that's what you wanna do.
Yeah, it's
Otherwise, you get
outside people.
finding.
We need to do it.
I agree, because it hasn't been done in 2 years, I
So
think.
why don't we first just vote on this audit report,
Yeah.
and then we'll
Make a
take,
separate
we'll
motion.
take
Yeah,
that
I
up.
thought
as-
that's-
Okay, so what is the motion on the
To
floor?
accept the audit report as presented, this one seconded, that's right.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
And now we need permission to pursue the post-employment
And
benefits.
is there a company out there that does this? Do we
Yes.
hire them?
Yes,
How much
you
is
did, I think it's a couple $1,000s, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
All right.
If it's more than that, I'll let you know.
Is that how it was done in the past?
It was, yeah,
Yeah, you have done it?
and that's how
Well,
I
that's
was.
how we
Bunch
must.
of- bunch of years ago.
Yeah.
It's just a couple
Things just the last couple of years have been a little squishy.
Okay, so I need a motion to approve hiring an actuarial to
So
do the
Second,
GASB 45.
It's either 45 or 54.
So
I think
with
it's
the GASB
To
something.
To do the post-employment
Employment benefit
and
analysis.
benefit
Okay.
analysis.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
yeah.
Thank you. Sue can now breathe.
Yeah.
Exhale. Very good.
Okay, set date for invitation to legislators.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
they're gonna be out of session pretty soon, I mean, their session's coming.
Do they have to be in session to come visit us?
No,
No,
They're
they
still,
no,
they're still
no,
elected
it's
officials.
No,
they'll have
no,
more time when they're on.
they'll have more time, yeah, because there's nothing, I mean, it actually it's a good time because the stuff we can talk about is something that can be done in the fall as a bill.
So we have the first meeting in June, we have the select persons.
Right.
The second meeting in June, we have the second meeting in June, which is the 25th, Wednesday, and then we are into next year's schedule.
I think we should do it sometime in the summer.
Right.
July.
I think that would be a nice thing to
Wanna
do.
do it in July?
Yep.
All right, so
What are our
July.
dates in July?
We have two, there's one in July.
I'll go look again.
We can have our meeting down at.
The 8th and the
I think
22nd.
we
Thank
should.
you.
Yeah, we can.
Oh, yeah.
I want to do it.
You should invite,
I'll bring my sleeping bag in my tent.
invite
Hey,
Prescott,
thank you, 8th and 22nd.
Russell Prescott is our state senator, Dan Itzy, and Tim Comerford, who are our state reps.
So if we were thinking like the 22nd, second meeting in July, hopefully.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
22nd.
Hopefully somebody, you know, if we did 7/22, that gives them 2 months' notice. And what we can do is, if we can't get all of them at one meeting, we could ask them just to stop by another meeting, just take a break, ask some questions.
Right.
But at least this we can put together a list of them.
I think none of them have schedules, well, I think Russell.
They have lives, they do
Yeah.
have lives.
I know, but none of them have like, I think Russell's the only one with a back to business.
And they may be vacationing in the summer. which
So
is-
did anybody come
So
up
we'll
with
go to that.
questions for
Yes,
them?
I did. I
Okay.
came up with some questions.
Can you read them,
Yes, I can.
please?
I'd love to. Or, just quick, there you go. They're just points actually I'd like to bring up.
Okay.
Okay, good. Number one, the issues we have with tenure for administrative positions. Like it costs us $80,000 to not renew a contract for principal. And the problem that tenure has, not only is it create problems for school boards, but also creates problems for the administrative positions, because oftentimes, when they're ready for tenure, they get let go. So it's not a benefit for them either. I think we need to ask them to take a look at the amount of policies that they keep pouring
So
out.
what could they do about tenure? Is there
It's
an
a law.
RSA?
It's a law.
Okay.
There's an RSA,
Yeah.
and it had recently moved from the 2 and 3 years to the 3 and 5 years, and they tried to move it back this year to 2 and
Right.
3 years.
Right.
It did not pass,
Right.
it didn't actually get entertained online. But you can suggest that, you know, at the very least, they don't change it.
Right.
I'm sorry, how many years?
What's 3 and 5 mean?
If you have been tenured in another district in the state of New Hampshire,
Yeah,
and you come to this district, it only takes 3 years to
Okay.
achieve the same status. If you are new or never been tenured before, it takes 5 years.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Another thing, I'd like to go through the policies before they come, but to have to take a look at the amount of policies that they keep dumping on the schools. We have this 1,000-page book. And, they should be taking a look at simplifying it. The other thing they could do is indemnify the schools, for like maximum, being sued for a maximum $200,000, so you're not, because a lot of the policies are CYA policies. And if you indemnify the schools, you can probably get rid of all that stuff. I think we should bring up how costly the pension reform was for us. It cost us $93,000 and cost us a foreign language teacher. That we need to, why isn't the state bearing the cost for software for the Common Core tests? Why aren't they paying, that is a mandate they put on us, why aren't they paying the full cost? Why are we being forced to pay some of it? I would like to then talk to them, I don't know if the rest of the school board agrees with eliminating health as a requirement. I mean, we've got a lot of things, we should be teaching, I know some issue, but we haven't even mastered the basics yet, so why are we doing health? All right, we gotta teach English, math, reading, writing, arithmetic,
You want
science.
to show them the movie?
Yeah, we should show them the movie. Reading, writing, English, reading, writing, arithmetic,
Jamie Vollmer.
right. It's a great
Film that I
movie.
showed you, the 10-minute film that
Right.
shows all the things that have been added to public
Yeah,
education.
we
over
should
the last
show
100
them,
years.
yeah. And, science,
I'll
Yeah.
loan that to you.
yeah, there should be reading, writing, and science, and history should be the 5 things that we should teach. We can master those, and we master those, and we can move on to something else.
Does the law dictate health, or is
Yes.
it the Department of
Minimum
Ed
standards.
with the Edward rule,
Yeah.
the Edward rules, which
The
are not law,
Department-
right?
Yes, they are. There are education rules for approval, for state approval, we have to
Right.
abide by them.
Right.
For minimum standards. That's the approval thing that we have
Right.
to do. We are required to follow the rules. They are worked on by committees, approved by the State Board of Education, and that's where we get our approval, so.
Right, but what I'm saying is, do the legislators have anything to do with that at all? No,
I'm trying to remember if the legislators have a final vote on it or not.
I think
They
can't they make a law that supersedes the Ed rule?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure they
Okay.
can.
Ed rules are
That's
based
what I
on
thought,
laws,
because-
that they pass a law and they ask the Department of Ed to make a rule
Rule
regarding the
to
law.
law, that's right.
To the law. So
So
all,
you're saying that there's probably a law that says we have to have health?
yeah, right, or maybe a law that implies or gives the Department of Education the opportunity, to fill in those requirements.
I can research that. I can
Are
answer
these,
that. I'm very
are these being
curious.
presented as, the school board wants all this, or Andy wants all
Well,
this?
these are my
No,
questions.
these are his questions.
These are my questions. Yeah,
But I'm just asking,
yeah.
I'm asking about.
Right, but the thing is, they should take a look at what they are requiring the schools to do. And to be honest with you, I think we should take a good look. I would like them to take a good look at the Finnish model, which has been so successful in Finland, and we're a small state, and it'd be a good thing for them to take a look at. And I would certainly be willing, to change how we teach. Basically, one of the big things with the Finnish approach is how they train their teachers. In Finland, it'd be like you'd have that SATs of 700 and above to get into education school.
Yeah, I know, I've read all of that.
Yeah, and-
They have
Right.
their motto basically is whatever it takes. and-
Right,
But
right.
they're the cream of the crop,
Right,
they're not,
right.
yeah.
Right, and it's a small, we're a small homogeneous state, they're a small, a lot of stuff applies. So it'd be nice for them to take a look at the Finnish model and see why they're so successful, why they're one of the best education systems in the world, time and time again. Another thing I would like them to take a look, I'd like them to take a look at special ed and narrowing the focus of special ed and give us some more specific instructions. There's probably, because of the special ed policies, there's always kids in the margins who do get in, and there is always kind of questionable whether they should be there or not. So I think they should take a look at that. My big bugaboo, and I don't think there's anything we do about this, is I think health insurance costs should bear the cost of health for students when they're in school. They should not come out of the school budget. We're not a hospital. We're not a, but if some kids with special ed, we have to provide, you know.
Nursing services.
Nursing services. We are not a hospital. We are not a medical facility. We should not be doing that. The healthcare insurance should be paying for providing those. They're experts in that. They know how to design a program for kids. We don't. And I think it's foolishness that they make schools do that. So those are my issues anyway.
Thank you, Andrew.
So.
Anybody else have anything?
The jaws are all on the floor. I'm gonna have a pen.
Does anybody have anything?
I didn't do anything.
And I think I'm thinking, no, I don't have anything like that.
Because, I mean, one thing you think about is like, what is it that gets in the way of us providing a better education for our kids? What rules, what laws, what regulations, you know, make it more difficult to educate our kids? And then what can the legislature do about that? You know, I mean, I certainly would like to propose more radical reforms, but I wouldn't.
I want computer
Yeah, I
coding.
mean, I would
first.
love to have a Scott Walker law that makes it voluntary for teachers to be part of the unions. That'd be great. You know, but I'm not gonna ask for that.
Do you actually have, when you said that, do you actually have a list of, is that somewhere I can look?
The ed laws?
Yeah.
Yes, they're online.
They're
The
online.
ed rules, yeah, the ed rules are online, but
Yeah, laws are online
But
too.
the video you're talking about is about what we used to offer in schools versus now what we offer in schools.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I can watch that?
Sure.
I can rent a car?
Yes. Yeah, it starts at 1900. It
No,
starts
After
at,
a meeting,
you know,
Yeah.
it
You
starts
should
at-
I've seen it,
It
but.
starts at
but-
1900.
Played during a meeting one day.
Yeah.
What kids had to learn. And actually, they did a test. Did you read about that test? They gave kids a history test that they got in 1917.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And kids in school today, and they almost, and even some of the teachers failed the test.
Mhm.
These are the things that kids were supposed to know back in 1917. They don't even know today. I mean, that.
Were they history things or were they
History class. Well, a lot of kids in high school don't even know when the Civil War occurred. You know, so, but they
Anyway,
did.
it's a great tape.
Yeah,
I'd
that,
love to
it's
see that.
really kind of embarrassing, actually. It is a great take. You know, they used to teach 3 subjects.
I saw the Hilton Prairie.
What?
The Hilton Prairie, right? I saw that.
Yeah, they used to hold, they,
6 subjects.
yeah, they,
I don't know enough,
They're
I
nice.
honestly don't know enough about the law and what's required and what's not. I mean, I see when New Hampshire School Board sends us something and says the law has changed, so therefore we have to have a policy on it.
right.
Then I look at it and I go, oh, okay, that seems like a reasonable law to me. It
Right.
seems like a reasonable policy to have. It's protection. Most of the time, it's to protect the
Mitigate
school from
risk.
whatever the case may be. So I don't have enough knowledge like you do about all of this stuff. Do I think it would be nice to allow educators to not have to join a union if they don't want to?
Right.
Sure, but according to what I understand right now anyway, I didn't know it was the law. I just thought that the union is requiring teachers to be part of the union.
You
And
work
that
in a
a
school,
can't,
you are represented by the bargaining union, you have no choice.
okay, and that's the law?
That is the way it is.
Right.
Yeah, that is the law. And if you
didn't
want
know
to
that.
join the union so that you can have a vote, you have to pay dues.
Okay.
If you do not pay dues and do not join the union, you have no vote,
How much,
no say in how your contract is worked.
how much is dues? Is it a lot?
It's not
No,
cheap.
it's not.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's like $3 a pay period, right?
It's
Or
about
something like that?
$400 a year, I think.
Yeah, about
Something like
$400.
that, 3
But
to something.
most of our teachers don't pay it.
And sometimes it's based on your salary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sauhegan High School is a non-union school. They have no union, no teachers union. They voted when they built the school, the teachers who were hired voted not to be
I
unionized.
thought it was part of the law.
No, they don't have to.
They don't have to be
Yeah.
unionized. If there is a union,
Oh.
you have to be represented by it.
Right.
But they have never had a
Yeah, I
union.
didn't know that
So,
distinction.
so the teachers at Ellis could, if they wanted to, vote to disband the union.
Yes, they could.
Right.
And we could legitimately hire them as teachers in our district if they did that.
They'd
Right.
have individual contracts, you
Right.
could give them raises every year, just like any other employee.
Oh, okay, that's what I was, that's why I said, is it the
Right.
state law, or is it just?
No, if there is a union in the school, you have to
Gotcha,
be.
I understand that,
But
I
can you
understand that.
disband the current union?
Yes, you can.
Huh.
It's a vote of the
Yes,
union.
you can. They could vote. to-
Allenstown voted to disband the paraprofessional union while I was there.
Didn't,
And the reason they did it was because they didn't get any contracts. So we just gave them raises every year instead. when
didn't
they did that.
Timberland do that? I think Timberlane, or I think did that too.
Not familiar with Timberlake.
Right. But anyway, but the thing about the policies, see, that's the thing about the policy, you get them, they dribble at you. So you look at them one at a time, so this is great, but when you look at them compounded,
Yeah,
you get A, B, B, D, D, C, G, G, K, K, L, L, M, N,
Dash
N,
R.
A dash R, G, G, B, D, D, Y,
Are you
J.
enjoying the policy committee?
Yeah. I was on it 2 years ago, but when you-
Oh, that's right, you're not on it, who's on it now?
I am on it.
he's on it now.
You are?
I was on it 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
But when you add them all up, that's when it gets ridiculous.
Auction, we need to do auction.
Yeah, I know. See what I mean? One at a time, it's like, okay, but when you add them all together, look at the complete breadth of the school.
It's huge.
She has 2 notebooks.
Yeah, it's huge. And you spend, how much time you spend looking at the policy about educated kids? You know, and it's, I mean, personally, my own personal preference is they get rid of a lot of the rules and restrictions, and that everything's just based on student performance. Now, who cares how big the classrooms are, as long as they're meet the fire code and students are performing well? That's my attitude. I mean, what difference does it make? But you have 50 kids in the class, like in North South Korea, 50 kids in a math class, they outperform American students all the time. But I know what I'm saying, but I'm saying it'd be all based on student, everything should be based on student performance. I mean, and everything should, and get rid of all the rest of it.
Is your ideal class size 50 kids?
No, my ideal class size is whatever it takes to get the maximum performance out of the kids. If you, and that's based on also, if you look at the research, student performance, teacher quality is more important than student performance than class size. You take a poor performing class of 25 kids, you put a quality teacher in, all those kids will start learning better.
You have to be
Well,
willing to
they'll all
pay.
start, they'll all start performing better. So having a quality teacher is more important than class size, and that's the research. And, you know, as a school, part of our, you know, our goal should be to make sure we hire quality teachers all the time.
I know,
And
that's what you just said, though, she said you have to be willing to pay for those quality teachers.
I'd be willing to pay for
But
it.
my question is, are you really paying, right now, the way our system is, we aren't paying for, we're paying for longevity,
Yes, we are.
but we're not paying for quality
There
teachers.
is no quali-
Although I think a lot of our longevity, our teachers that have been here a long time are also quality
Yeah,
teachers.
yeah.
I'm not trying to say that
But they
at all.
don't get better after 5 years.
Right, they
Okay.
don't.
They've hit their stride. The research is there, Teachers Matter, remember we read
Yep,
the
yep,
book.
yep.
The research is very clear, the teachers do not improve after about 5 or 6 years. They hit their stride.
They're either great or they're.
Or they're not.
Right,
And so why are we paying them for the length of time
right,
that they
Yeah.
work? We should be paying them more to start.
right.
But the system doesn't allow for us to do that
I
right
know.
now.
It's-
So
the system's
when you're
broken.
saying what you're saying, and
Right.
we can't.
Yeah, we can.
But there's certainly something we can bring up with the legislature, say, this is the way it is, you know. Another we can bring up, I think,
Can they actually pass a law, though, that would supersede what a CBA says?
They could, the only thing they can do is make us a right to work state like they did in Wisconsin,
right,
which means you don't have to be a member of the bargaining union, you can work at will.
Oh,
right.
And they can do that, and that came very close to passing several years ago.
Yes, it did.
But it's not supported, of course, by the unions,
No.
because it's an institution itself.
right, and if you did, so if that was the case, though, if we were a right to work state, then a teacher could say, I don't want to be part of the
That's
union,
correct.
pay me at what I'm worth,
Yep,
they're a great teacher, you pay them a lot.
Yeah.
They're a crappy teacher, they're gonna stay with the union.
Or you just do it.
But,
Most teachers are very good. There's
Right.
just a few here and there that
I agree.
are-
but I think the other thing we could bring up, I mean, that we could bring up
Interesting, that's
is,
what that means.
is teacher education. You know, I mean, if you look at, like you said, we talk about math, you know, teachers are not being properly trained to teach mathematics. And I think that's something we can bring up with them, you know, as far as, let's take a look at our teacher training, let's take a look at who is eligible to get, I mean.
Part of what's happening in elementary schools, in
Yeah.
places where math is really good, is that the one teacher doesn't teach all subjects.
Right,
There isn't a single self-contained classroom. A math specialist comes into that classroom and teaches math.
right,
And generally speaking, the language arts teacher teaches everything else.
right,
So that there are people who are specifically trained to do that.
right,
It's asking one person to be everything to all people,
which you can't.
which is, it's tough, and they do it, and some of them do it extraordinarily well. And but that is tough to come by. So many school districts are now hiring math specialists to work with their teams as another teacher. And that person goes from classroom to classroom and works with the elementary school kids.
Is that what our reading specialist does?
Reading specialist, it depends. Reading specialists have several different kinds of job descriptions. In some districts, a reading specialist is a person who trains teachers to help teach better reading. Lexiles the books, recommends books for students, and works with students who are having particular problems. In some districts, that's all they do is pull kids out like a Title I reading teacher does. So it depends on how you use them, they can be used many different ways. But they're supposed to assist teachers in becoming better teachers of reading as a primary function.
Is that?
And that would be the same way math specialists work. In many schools now have reading specialists and math specialists in their buildings.
All right, so we're gonna set a date, which you said July
22nd.
Okay. And we're gonna send a letter, will you do that, Betsy, or do you want me to do that? or-
I'm happy to do that.
Okay,
It
thank
is
you.
coming from the school, the invitation is coming from the school board.
Mhm. So what, you want me to write the letter?
Yeah, he wants you to write it.
Okay, I'll write the letter.
No, it's coming from us, that's
Yeah.
why, not from her, it's coming from.
And you only want it at this, you just want Comerford and it's.
Well, it depends what people want, I
You
mean,
don't want Kelly Ayotte or,
sure, we can invite Jean Shaheen and Kelly Ayotte and Carol Shea Porter, sure, we could, my questions are not tailored towards the national level.
right?
Yeah, there were state representatives,
Yeah,
that's what you're looking
yeah,
for, state
I
representatives.
think at some point in the future, it'd be nice to get our US reps and US senators into talking about national education policy
Mhm.
Right.
and how that's affecting us. And so they can see that, but those are two really
Very
different
different.
issues.
Okay. I'll send the invitation. Non-public session, is that what we're doing next?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we take a quick?
Yep, we can recess, I'm gonna recess for about 5 minutes and then we'll do that session. Okay, so we're back in public session after our recess, and we're going to, I'd like to entertain a motion to go into non-public for RSA 91:A, Roman numeral 2A.
What's that for?
Compensation, contracts, compensation, personnel.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Brian, aye.
Phrase that.
Keen, aye.
Kit, aye.
Full fry.
And I'd like to entertain a motion to seal the minutes indefinitely.
So moved.
Second.
All those in, ready to roll call? No. Yes, roll call, just to be
We
sure.
need a roll call. And it has to be 2/3.
Phrase that.
Keen, aye.
Kit, aye.
Full fry.
Okay,
And 2/3.
so now we're in future and follow-up agenda items.
Right, I just want to mention, one of the things I've been thinking about because of curriculum and the needs of the changing curriculum that are happening in the building, and let me put it this way, the ability to sit back, think, organize, and plan curriculum isn't something that can be done easily while you're taking care of discipline and running a building. We have money coming in the REAP, assuming that we get it next year without any trouble, and right now we haven't had any indication from the state that we won't. We could hire a .4 curriculum coordinator for 2 years. I'm thinking this is not a permanent position, this is a short-term position, 2-year position, for about 27 grand. and that would be paid for by the grant. So I'm going to be coming back with a proposal to the board to do that, and then we can hire for next year to do the job of getting the curriculum into the curriculum connector, working with the teachers, putting together trifolds for every grade, because I think every school district needs that, Lexiling all of the books, textbook inventory, textbook cycle setup, purchase
What's a
cycle
Lexile?
and review. What?
What's Lexile?
Lexile.
Lexile, what's that?
That's the reading level.
Okay.
Every single book in a school should be Lexiled, and that's the national, whatever it is, that sets that up, librarian, so that you know what reading level it is, so that when a teacher pulls a book out of their little, even their little reading pile, this is a book that you should have. And this is, your reading teacher uses this to move kids along. It's a standard that should be there. So it's one thing that a curriculum coordinator can oversee and work with the librarian and the reading teacher to do. So there are a number of administrative things that need to be done, but you don't need to hire a full-time person who's going to be there forever, because eventually they will run out of things to do and you'll have them. So you set it up as a position that starts and ends, and we should be done, and then you'll need it in about 8 years.
Okay.
Again. So I'll come back with a proposal for that, so that'll be a future agenda.
I think it's a good suggestion.
Yeah.
I think it's a great suggestion.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that'll make Mr. Brown
Yes,
happy.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And he knows a little bit about that stuff, so.
The,
Okay, and you wanted something
Yeah,
for
one,
state
this,
legislators?
yeah, say like, one of the issues that all schools have is if you don't renew a teacher's contract for their full performance, they go apply to another school and they call you up and say, how were they? All you can tell them is, yes, they worked here, right? You
It
can't-
depends, it depends
You
on
can?
how they left.
Okay, well, but if you didn't renew the contract because they were poor performance, you can't tell them, well, we evaluated and they're a fully performing teacher, right? You can't do that.
If they ask under what circumstances did the teacher leave, you can say they were non-renewed.
That's
It's
it.
very clear, it's very clear.
Because, you know, the reality, if someone's not a good teacher, you don't want them going to another school district and getting hired because they don't really realize that they're not a good teacher because they couldn't get the information from prior employers.
I would say in 80% of the cases, that's probably true. In 20% of the cases, sometimes it's just a blasted bad fit.
Right.
And the person isn't really that big a problem.
Right.
They may have been, you know,
Right.
a reasonable teacher who was on a lousy team.
Right.
And just, you know, couldn't perform because of it. So, or their mother was dying that year, or whatever, you
Right.
know, those things happen. So I don't want to damn someone for
Right.
that kind of thing. So you have to be careful. You do have to be careful. You can describe, you know, they came to work on time or they didn't come to work on time. You can say they did what they were told or they didn't do what they told, or that they had to be told. You know, there are ways that you can say how they perform.
All right, as long as there's ways you can do that.
Yeah, there are ways you can do it.
All right.
All right, so,
That's it then, right?
yep. Our next meeting is May 27th, Tuesday.
Mhm.
Right after Memorial Day.
I'll take a
Yeah,
motion
it'll be
to
here
adjourn.
before you know it.
Motion to adjourn?
Second, all those in favor?
All right.